It's amazing how some of the things that I was told early on in the golf instruction that I got from Jessica at Golf Tech just kind of went away for a while. And now that I'm out here working on my own without going week after week to take the lessons, the original lessons and some of the things she was trying to drill into the old dome are really starting to sink in and take shape. I can't wait to share it with you. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to Golf Test Dummy, the channel where I use my game to help your game. I hope that I'm still doing that for a lot of you guys out there, and based on some of the comments that I'm getting in a lot of the videos recently, it sounds like it's a bit of a mixed bag. I've had some people tell me that they've actually taken some lessons at Golf Tech and they did not work out for them, and then I've had quite a few other people tell me that the lessons that they took worked out really well. But it's really hard to argue with results. It's really hard to argue with numbers and data, something that you can actually look at and examine and say, yes, that is better, or no, that really hasn't moved anywhere, or even the last one, it's gotten worse. So I've been warming up a little bit out here. I was gonna play around on the simulator, and I've just kind of been working my way up from the wedges in the bag. It's right down the middle. I don't know if you can pick that up on the microphones, but if you were here with me, you would see that my club head speed, my ball speed, my total distance with this 7-iron, the same 7-iron that I've been using, has gone from when I started probably around 148 to 152 total distance to now what is up over 165, total distance of 166.4 and 161 of carry. But the club head speed has gone up. I'll make one more swing here for you, but I want you to see if you can tell a big difference in my swing visually. That's another one. Piped right down the middle, and I'll tell you, I feel like my effort levels have gone down. My speed has climbed up. And I think I can finally put into words, that's 170 yards, 78.5 mile an hour club head speed, 114.7 mile an hour ball speed. I think I can finally put into words maybe some of the things that have been helping me to get my numbers up, and they might just help you in return. Now, if you've been following along with the Golf Tech review series that I did, I think I did 11 episodes where I was in studio and I was actively going through lessons, and then the video prior to this one, I guess you could technically call that video number 12 in the series. Even though I filmed it out here in the lab, it was kind of a wrap up, my final thoughts with the lessons that I went through. I haven't taken the lessons now in quite a few weeks. I know that there is a time lag between when I film this and when you actually watch it. So a lot of the things that I've been doing out here since that time have been just a tremendous amount of experimentation. I've tried to figure out a way to get that to work for me, to reach those elements, but in my own way, so that A, it's not so incredibly complex for me to learn, and then B, it tends to be more natural. So it'll hold up under pressure, I think, a little bit easier when I get out on course and I actually have to go out and make birdies and pars. So a couple of the things that I've been experimenting with go back to the very first lesson that Jessica gave me. If you've watched a YouTube golf instructional video, or picked up a golf magazine, or watched the Golf Channel on TV, or you've gone and gotten a lesson from your local pro, chances are you've heard the term use the ground, I'm going to guess more than one time. It's sort of the hot button phrase for the last several years amongst all the golf pros. They love to point it out on the telecast when you're watching the pros on TV. They'll do like the CBS slow motion vision. They'll break down the swings. Look at how he uses the ground. It's kind of, people use it a lot. And I think when you use some terms a lot, they sort of lose their power. People kind of get a little bit numb to those hot phrases. When they first come out, it's like very powerful, use the ground, and everybody understands it. But then over time, as you use it more and more, it sort of loses its magic. And then people start to just kind of tone it out. and they stopped listening to it. But in my first lesson with Jessica, one of the things that she mentioned was using the ground. And of course, I'd heard that 1,000 times before, and I started to tune it out. And then she said, look at Tony Finau, look at John Rahm. And again, I've been through this 1,000 times. I started to tune it out. But now that I'm back in here and I'm experimenting, I went back to the very first lesson, and she said, Tony Finau and John Rahm, they're able to hit the ball a country mile, have some of the top club head and ball speeds, and have some of the longest distances with their clubs with a compact, what looks like almost a half swing. How are they able to do that? Well, answer number one to that would be is because they're insane athletes and they're incredible at what they do. They have gifts. They're gifted. But then another thing could be, well, okay, maybe I'll never hit the ball as far and as powerful as John Rahm or Tony Finau. That's true. But can I use those techniques to make a better version of me? And so I started to experiment. And the way I started to experiment was by making smaller, more compact swings. And when I did that, as I tried to speed it up or add more power to it, what I found was my lower body started to move out of position. And I figured, okay, there's something there. I've got to dig a little bit deeper. What is happening there? So if you start out and you just make smaller swings, sort of like that at slower speeds, no big deal. No big deal. Your lower body is going to be pretty stable. It's going to do what it's supposed to do. You're not going to early extend at that speed. But when you try and speed that up and really get the club moving faster and get that club head speed coming through the ball, you tend to stand up a little bit. Now, I've mentioned this before in some other videos, and I'll ask you guys the question first. How do I get my lower body to stop early extending? Well, the first thing I tried was to stand there and just force my lower body to stay exactly where it was, almost like it was in cement, and just lock my muscles up. I got to tell you, there's a couple of things that happen when you do that. Number one, you're going to hurt your back. Number two, you're going to prevent yourself from opening up to the target as you're supposed to as you come through impact to deliver that power if you try and lock things up. So it's not a good idea. It's a good way to maybe practice and maybe do a drill to get the feeling, but there's got to be something else that happens, right? So when I get over the golf ball now, first of all, I am trying to make a more compact swing. And second of all, I'm trying to keep the club face. This was another issue I had where I was opening the club face up. I'm trying to keep the club face looking at the ball, what feels like the entire swing. Of course, it's not happening, but that's the extreme that I have to go to in order to affect change. So now I keep my club face square more on the way back, and square more on the way through, and square more on into the follow through. If I do that, and I keep that going, I'm moving through the target like that, I keep that club face square. There's your direction. There's your direction consistency. That's how you develop that. And then, if I am making a more compact swing, I'm taking away the overswing, I'm taking away the elbow getting out of position. I'm taking away too much turning of the hips. I'm taking away all of that stuff by making the half swing. Right? Now, how do you add speed to that and make that half swing produce even more than you were getting out of a full swing? Well, the key is going to be efficiency, of course. But how do you practically do it? How do you make it happen here when you try and put more into it and you don't have the hand and arm speed of John Rahm and Tony Finau? You got to do it with your lower body. And if you lock it in concrete, you're going to hurt yourself. You're not going to open up, and you're actually going to cost yourself some speed. So in order to keep this from doing that, or even that, what I had to do was apply the reverse effort. If I want it to stay here throughout the swing, I actually have to come down and increase it to offset the force and the gravity of that club swinging out. So actually, when I take it back, I have to get down even further like that in order to prepare for the slinging and the mass and the speed of this club coming through, which will then pull me kind of back up to where I'm supposed to be. I mentioned this in a video before, bending the electrical conduit past 90 so that when it rebounds, it comes back to 90. I've mentioned that in a video before. It's kind of like that. So you almost have to be going back that way so that all that getting slung around won't stand you up too quick. If I was going to wrap this up and try to make it as simple as possible on what I'm doing, the things that I have done to help myself and increase my speed and increase my distance. A, make the swing more compact. Think half swing, full speed. I'm still trying to get the same speed or more out of a smaller swing. Number 2, keep the butt back. I can't even overstress how crucial I have found that to be in making a difference in my results out here. I can't overstate that enough. It's been a huge thing that has plagued me for a very long time, and I know a lot of you out there have had the same issues. And if you try and lock it up in concrete, you'll get something out of it, but you'll never really be able to produce the speed. You will produce pain, and you will stifle the natural movements of your body that are necessary in order to get your body going toward the target. So keep the butt back is number 2. Number 3, keep the club face. As I take it away, try and make it look at the ball the entire time. It almost goes against. You remember when you're starting to play golf and people's first instincts when they would set up would be to do this and then keep the club almost like a Ferris wheel going toward the target? I think I have fought that for years now. I've tried to do the exact opposite of that because I know that that is a captain amateur move. And so I've tried to go the exact opposite direction. And as a result, I've actually gotten myself into a lot of bad positions where when I'm taking the club away, I'm opening the club face up and then trying to bring it back down. Just keep it square. You'll have to figure out that your wrists move more like this than like this. I always thought this was the golf swing, but for me, I'm finding this is much more accurate. So number 3, I keep the club face looking at the golf ball. And number 4, I just try to make a good pass through the golf ball without having so much speed that I get out of control. I want to push it as fast as I can, but I don't want to lose control and I don't want to give up consistency in order to get that speed. Because if I try and really pour it on, then no amount of me counterbalancing myself with my butt is going to keep me on balance throughout the swing. So if I apply all of those, wow, that's effortless. Effortless and traveling further than it has for me in months. And the snap, you build up almost they talk about rubber bands and building all that up. I don't know that your body works like a rubber band. I know your muscles can, but I don't know that your body actually functions the same way a rubber band does. We are skeletal creatures. We have a skeleton. We have tendons. You can't just keep pulling on them. They'll snap right off of the bone. But I do know that when I get here, I feel coiled. And when I uncoil, you don't have to put in as much effort to get that speed, to get it to whip through. It's really an amazing thing when you can finally get it and you feel it, you go, oh, that's completely different. It'll be an aha moment for you. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean all this stuff is going to work just right for you. It might need to be a different combination for you. You might not have any of the same issues that I had starting out with. You might be in a completely different starting point than I was, and none of this will help you whatsoever. Maybe. But I think that trying to keep the club face pointing at the golf ball longer it's got to be a good thing. It's got to be a good thing. 2, keeping your butt back and eliminating early extension. I have a hard time believing that that is not a good thing. Number 3, trying to apply just as much speed as you can, but not lose your balance and not lose control. Again, I don't care how you're swinging the golf club. I think that's going to be a great little point on the compass to aim for. And then as far as the half swing, it may or may not work for a lot of people out there. It is definitely worth a try, though. I mean, it's working for John Rahm and Tony Finau, and I'm never going to be those guys, and you're probably never going to be that guy. But all I'm looking to do is be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. And I hope that that's all you guys are looking for, because if you're thinking I'm going to be out on tour next week or something, you could be headed for a lot of disappointment. Keep your expectations lofty, but realistic. Just think about being better tomorrow than you were yesterday. That's all you have to do. And little by little, I'm seeing results out here, and I can't wait to take it out on course to show you guys. I know a lot of you have been waiting for some on-course play. It is coming, I promise. It was my wife's birthday. I had to take her camping. We had a hurricane the week before that. It just seems like everything's been fighting me to get it out on course, but I will be out on course soon. Be looking for those videos. And if you haven't subscribed already, we are headed to 10,000 subscribers. And I have something special. I've already been working on for when we hit 10,000 subscribers. And we're on track to do that before the end of the year. So help me get there. Tell your friends, tell your family, share these videos around. Help me grow. Subscribe if you haven't already. There's something big coming, and it's going to affect some of you out there. And I think make some of you very happy. So until the next video, thanks for watching this one. Be sure to click thumbs up on it. Check out my links in the description below to save yourself some money. See you next time.